Welcome to the Breakup Recovery Podcasts by your host, Barbara Stevens. Discover the wisdom and remarkable insights of Barbara Stevens, breakup recovery mentor, author, and public speaker. Barbara offers programs and solutions for any breakup so you can turn your life around, create lasting changes for the better, and embrace life again.
Hello and welcome to Breakup Recovery Podcast. I'm Barbara Stevens and I'm a breakup recovery mentor. And this is episode number 086, How to Ease the Pain of a Breakup. A painless breakup, separation or divorce, does that ever happen? Do you know of someone who has been able to break up with their partner and say it was painless? Say it honestly was a pain-free process. Can even the word process of breaking up from another person be done in a friendly manner? Sure, you can remain friends with your ex, and I've spoken on this subject previously in episode number 083, Can You Be Friends with Your Ex? If you have not listened to this episode, you can always go back into iTunes and download it and listen to it. It's not a prerequisite to listen to episode number 083 before you listen to this episode. But often that process of becoming friends with your ex happens after a lot of soul-searching, a lot of time passing since the actual breakup. And there are many factors that contribute to you being friends with your ex after your breakup. But often that process of becoming friends with your ex happens after a lot of soul-searching, a lot of time passing since the actual breakup. And there are many factors that contribute to you being friends with your ex after your breakup. I'm sure you have heard quite a few people say at the initial stage of their breakup that their breakup is not going to be nasty. They are going to work through all the issues. They have children together, so they come first, and everything else will fall into place. Yes, we have all heard our friends or acquaintances say that they are going to keep it cordial. There's no need for hostility. They say they were once in love. They have spent a majority of their time with this person. They know that is what they want to keep. It is painless as possible. Well, that is what they say in the early stages of a breakup, when the breakup or separation first happens. But how many of those good intentions go out the window when money becomes involved, when it has to be decided who is going to keep the house? Who is going to keep the boat, the cars, the holiday house? How are you going to split the assets, your superannuation, things like that? Then there is the question of who is going to have the children for the majority of the time. How much child support will have to be paid to that person? You thought you knew that person, but all of a sudden you don't. They want to keep the house. They want to keep the cars. They don't want to pay child maintenance. They simply are unreasonable during the division of assets. I think those people who say that they are going to separate or divorce amicably and there will be no arguments or disagreements, I believe they are underestimating the toll a separation takes on your mental and physical state. In the beginning, it hasn't quite hit you. All the changes that will be occurring, the emotions that will be taking over your mind and your body. As time goes on, the reality of the breakup takes a firm grip on your every thought. Your emotions such as hurt, anger, pain become your everyday experience. The realization of the future you thought you had, the future you had planned out, is no longer going to happen. That great sense of loss becomes evident. You lose your identity as a couple. You lose your life as you knew it. Nothing will be the same and your future is uncharted. You are changing the whole way in which you live your life, and change for some people can be frightening and challenging. On top of that, you are dealing with your emotions, your feelings, and your mindset. How nice would it be to be able to break up, separate, or divorce with no pain? However, when you add to the mix of emotions, feelings, and division of assets and children, it can get very painful very quickly. But is there a way to reduce the pain for you? I'm not saying that you can't have a pain-free breakup. I'm quite sure there have been a few of those, but none that I'm aware of. The majority of breakups, separations and divorces that I know about, there has been some degree of pain involved for both or at least one of the parties. What if you could reduce the pain you are feeling? What if you could turn this process of breaking up and separating or divorcing into a learning experience for you on how to deal with conflict and unreasonable people? So what would be the first thing you would tell yourself? It would possibly be, how are you going to manage your feelings, your emotions, and your thoughts towards this person and their behaviour? How are you going to react to their behaviour? Say, for instance, they are demanding that they keep the home that you both bought together, the home that you both decorated and made it your own, the home that you raised your children in. You may possibly want to keep this home so that your children have some continuity in their lives because everything else is changing for them. Their parents are no longer together and they don't know how this is all going to pan out for them. Now you could dig your heels in and demand that you are the one who keeps the home. You could make your case that you have every right to remain in this home. You've contributed to the partnership over the years in a financial way. You had the children to consider and feel that it would be in their best interest to have stability in their lives. You could think of many reasons as to why you should keep the property. Now your ex might see reason in your arguments. They might consider the children first and what their needs are. They just might agree to surrender the home to you. But at what cost will that be? What will they want to trade off so that you keep the house? Will they be that reasonable in every other asset that needs to be divided? There are so many variables to every situation, and I could talk about these for hours, going through all the possibilities. However, let's say for argument's sake that they are not that reasonable, and they want to have the home, or they want to sell the home so that the division of assets can be completed. This is not your ideal. So what can you do? What are your options to make this as painless as possible? How can you manage the way you react to their behaviour? You could let your house go if you could see your way past this and negotiate hard on the other possessions. You could stand your ground and be prepared for all that might come next in terms of your ex's behaviour. This might become too much for you. You might start to have feelings of being overwhelmed, as it feels like an all-out war has been launched against you. If your ex is behaving unreasonably, try not to react. If your partner fights with you, you don't have to take it, but you have to manage it, and one of the most difficult things to do is not to react. You might find that in order for you to take some pain out of the process, it might mean that you have to engage a lawyer who knows your legal rights and how to enforce them in relation to property settlement, maintenance and custody. Sometimes a separation or divorce can be too complicated for the do-it-yourself approach. You might find that you are struggling to agree on who gets what. A good lawyer will clarify the issues for you and look at the bigger picture and understand from experience how things will benefit you in the long run. However, it is better for everyone if the lawyers are coming from an amicable approach. If a lawyer is not an option for you, it may mean that you use a mediator. A mediator opens up channels of communication and facilitates an agreement you negotiate together. The more you agree, the cheaper and quicker it will be to settle all issues, whether they are about property, kids, or both. So I've spoken about some strategies for dealing with the negotiations on the assets, like how you are going to react and engaging professional help with either a lawyer or a mediator. But dealing with the emotional aspect of a breakup can be just as painful as dealing with the division of possessions. It's about distancing yourself from the negativity or ending any conversations that are getting out of hand or turning into a shouting match. If this happens, make sure you let them know that any further discussions must be in a calm and adult manner. It's about keeping all communication non-confrontational. and keeping the high ground so that you can talk to them with respect even when emotions are running high. It's important to argue the point and not the person. I've said this to my children for many years. It's okay to have a discussion with someone, and it's okay to have different points of view. But when you are having those discussions, it's very important to keep them on point and only discuss this issue, whatever it is, without name-calling, using offensive names, foul language, and past instances that do not relate to the point in discussion. It can get very messy very fast when these sorts of words are being used. It immediately puts you on guard when you are called horrible names, and the point of discussion can soon be lost in name-calling and reliving past discretions. The discussion is derailed and difficult to get back on point. It's no secret that a breakup, separation, and divorce can bring out the worst in people. Another way to help ease the pain of a breakup is to talk to someone you can trust, a confidant that you feel comfortable with spilling all your worries and concerns, someone you know won't repeat anything that you say as you vent your frustrations and explore all your options. It can be so good for you to put all your confusing feelings into words. So talk to a friend or a relative. They do want to help you. It may take seeking a professional, a counsellor, someone who is neutral and won't take sides, and someone who can advise you on coping strategies and help you to feel more in control so that you can make more practical and informed decisions. The last strategy I'm going to talk about in this episode, how to ease the pain after a breakup, is about self-care so you can move on. The longer you remain emotionally entangled in the situation, the more difficult the breakup will be. It's important to carve out some me time, especially when you don't have the children. This may be new interests, joining a community or a support group, taking up yoga or meditation, going for a walk or a bike ride, having a massage, meeting up with friends for a coffee or a drink. Whatever you choose, make sure the focus is on you. Be kind to yourself. Breaking up is a stressful situation, and you need the me time to recharge so that you feel that you can cope with all the changes and the tasks that need to be done. There is a lot of anxiety around losing your possessions, what your future is going to look like, and where everything is going to end up. You can worry about your finances, how you are going to cope with this uncertain future. You are losing your life as you knew it. You can feel that you are losing control over everything, your family unit, everything that you have worked so hard to build up into the life you wanted. It's normal to be scared and anxious. It's normal to have feelings of frustration, especially towards your ex, as you try and navigate the process of a breakup. Take one day at a time and deal with each issue one at a time. Don't let them build up into something bigger than they actually are. Remember, you control the way you react to every situation. So if everything is becoming overwhelming, then think about the strategies I talked about. Reacting to their behaviour, engaging professionals such as a lawyer or a mediator, keeping communication non-confrontational, talking to someone, be that your friends, family, or a counsellor, and self-care so you can move on. All these things together should help take the pain out of your breakup. I hope that you have got something from this episode number 086, How to Ease the Pain of a Breakup. Whether it has sparked a question, a query, or a better understanding of whether you can ease the pain after your breakup. But if you are still struggling to get over your breakup and feel that you need some assistance and will possibly like to work with me one-on-one, then contact me via my website barbarastevens.com.au or message me on my Facebook page, Barbara Stevens Breakup Recovery Mentor. If you found some value from this episode and know someone else who would also find Breakup Recovery podcasts useful, then please share the podcast with them. All the episodes are available on my website, iTunes, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Many listeners have asked how they can help support the podcast, and Patreon is one way to help. If you think this show is worth $1 and you can afford this amount, I am grateful for any amount of money because every little bit helps. So why not head over to my Patreon page and take a look? The link to that would be www.patreon.com/Breakup Recovery. No contribution is too small, and I appreciate your support so that I can improve Breakup Recovery podcast. If you have any questions or suggestions, or just want to email me, then all my details are on my website. I would also like to give a shout out to those wonderful and kind people that have taken the time to leave a review about Breakup Recovery podcast on iTunes. I love receiving these, and I am humbled at the beautiful comments. And I'm grateful that you find this podcast helpful in some way. I would love to read one of these views today. This is my very first review that I received, and it's someone from Australia. Love listening to these podcasts. They validate everything that is going on in my life. They are informative and give me tools to use. I am not alone in my journey to recover from the shock. Thank you for sharing these podcasts. Thank you for that review, and I'll share more reviews when I next do a solo episode of Breakup Recovery Podcast. Thank you for listening, and the last thing I'd like to say is, be gentle on yourself. You deserve happiness.
If you would like to hear previous Breakup Recovery podcasts, visit barbarastevens.com.au. Connect with Barbara Stevens on social media with Barbara Stevens Breakup Recovery Mentor on Facebook and at You'll Be Okay on Twitter. Read further blogs, view webinar replays, and download your free ebook, 3 Easy Steps to Surviving Your Breakup, and much more at barbarastevens.com.au.